News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Well, Rashee Rice and his buddy, the SMU football player, Theodore Knox, were the two people driving these sports cars, both leased, or I should say rented, under Rashee Rice's name, according to reports. And as you know, they caused a 6-car collision. It was not an accident, it was a crash, because they were not driving in regular conditions. They were driving 49, at least Rashee was driving 49 miles over the speed limit. Or was it 39? Producer, let's see, 49 miles per hour over the speed limit. Isn't that remarkable? 49 miles over the speed limit of 70 miles per hour on 75. 75 is a highway, or Central Expressway is a highway that my family and I go on a lot. And this is where I could particularly envision just driving along and being hit from behind out of nowhere by somebody. It's like you're at a stoplight, like I was when I got hit, and somebody hits you at 49 miles an hour. Can you imagine how bad that would be? I was hit at about 45, I think, and it was pretty dang bad. But it's worse when you're actually traveling at 70, because that is, I mean, then you have 6 other cars, and you have smashing into them from behind. You have a completely terrible, I don't know how to describe it, but just unbelievable, an attack. It's like an attack on you. You're driving your car, and they smash into you from behind, needlessly, recklessly, and they walk away. So they've been sued by another group of folks today, Edward Petrovsky. I'm going to try to say this without butchering it. Edward Petrovsky and Irina Gromova. Probably Russian folk, or I don't know, Eastern Bloc folk, right? Of some kind. Anyway, they were in a Lexus, and they are suing for $1 million actual damages and $10 million punitive damages. Here's what they say. They suffered multiple injuries, including brain trauma. That's serious. Lacerations and contusions, disfigurement. I'll say that one again. Brain trauma and disfigurement. And internal bleeding in the crash. Remember, it was at 6:30 in the afternoon to broad daylight on a Saturday with heavy traffic, apparently. Gromova was driving a Lexus SUV when the crash happened. Petrovsky was riding in the passenger seat. Dash cam footage shows what appears to be their vehicle getting hit from behind. This is from WFAA TV Channel 8's report today. Their vehicle from getting hit behind and then getting spun. It is abundantly evident, their suit says, that no goodwill was displayed at this scene. Moreover, it is obvious that by the time Rice had his moral awakening, this is what I've told you about, ready? It is obvious that by the time Rice had his moral awakening, the opportunity to gather evidence about Rice and Knox's mental state and level of intoxication from any intoxicating substances would never, let me rephrase that, I'm reading their words, not mine, would be forever diminished or lost. Forever diminished or lost. And that's what I told you. I personally, I think we should assume they were high, drunk, or drugged or something, because remember, there was 10.8 grams of marijuana found. There was marijuana in both cars. There was also a $10,000 or $15,000 check and a gold diamond necklace and a Kansas City Chiefs playbook. So we got weed, jewelry, expensive jewelry, a check, and a Kansas City Chiefs playbook, and these fancy cars. And they're driving recklessly on the highway as if it's theirs. So I believe they walked away because they were going to be busted for driving while intoxicated as well, and they didn't want to face that. Get out, we'll face the rest later. We don't want them knowing how wasted we were. That's my belief, and I think it's based on their behavior, shows they had something to cover up, and it wasn't just the crash. As they walked away, they knew they were going to be busted for the crash. It was under Rashid's name. So all they had to lose was a DWI on top of that, which would have been serious. This is so angering that they did this. So they must be punished to the fullest extent, and we must assume they were driving intoxicated. The judgment of their behavior, by the way, would assume so too, wouldn't it? But here's the thing. So many people reacted with me, and most folks agreed with me, and you don't have to, but so many people are calling in when we first talked about this. We talked about it for hours one night. You were calling in, and every 20, 30 minutes, somebody would call and say, Chris, this is not a big deal. It's not criminal. And I want to ask you that right now. Do you feel this crash was criminal, and even more criminal to walk off after it, as I do? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Continuing on with what their lawsuit says, the defendant's flight from the scene creates circumstances that could only be motivated, their suit says, by collusion to conceal the whole truth and evade full accountability. Again, they say the opportunity, moreover, it's obvious that by the time Rice had his moral awakening, the opportunity to gather evidence about his and Knox's mental state and level of intoxication from many intoxicating substances would be forever diminished or lost. In other words, they did this so they could get away with the DWI on top of the reckless driving, the felony aggravated assault that they have been charged with, which is up to 10 years in jail, and the misdemeanors that face up to a year in jail or no more than 5 years in confinement in the county jail, and for no more than $5,000 fine. The ag assault, a second-degree felony, punishable by 2 to 20 years in prison, and a fine of up to $10,000. And the collision involving serious bodily injury, third-degree felony, more than 10 years. I mean, you total this up, it could be as much as 40 years in prison or 60 years in prison with each count being told. I mean, I'm not stupid. He's not going to get 60 years or 80 years or 30 years. But the man's a criminal if he's convicted of this. And we see him on, he's actually, if he's convicted, he's admitted to it. So the man's a criminal to me. His behavior is criminal. His conduct is criminal. And what he did was criminal. Do you feel this crash was criminal and even more criminal to walk off after it, as I do? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Both Rice and Knox have been arrested in the case on multiple charges. WFAA reports 6 counts of collision involving bodily injury, 1 count of collision involving serious bodily injury, 1 count of aggravated assault. All of the charges are felonies. So let's repeat that again. 1 on 6 counts of bodily injury with collision. That's a felony. 1 ag assault, which is a felony, obviously. And 1 count. So everything's felonies. Wow. I told you. A felony is not a traffic ticket. A felony is not a traffic offense. A felony is not an accident. It's a crime. And I said it from day one. And the charges are all criminal, and they're all felonies. And they all are accurate. What was done was not an accident. What was done is not routine. What was done is not what's been done to you unless you've gone through something like this. And I have yet to see one person call, from that first night we talked about this, that kind of mocked me and said, what's wrong with you? Why are you so angry or passionate about this? I'm like, because I'm imagining if it was me. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Also, coming up next on the Chris Crock Show, you have to hear this. A newly hired Target worker. You have to hear this audio. She recorded a social media post after she was forced to manage an entire store alone, and her boss clocked out. It was at a Target store. We'll talk about that and how you're seeing people her age act at work, and if you think this is kind of more normal with this age or not. All that's next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. 800-288-WBAP is our number. That's 800-288-9227. This is quite possibly a statement about the younger generation, but I can tell you this. There's some hope because I know that my 2 kids would not do this. One is 20, the other is 17, will be 18 later this year. And they both work at, the young man's out in Japan, as you know, for a semester, doing his studying with a partner university of his one here that he goes to in North Texas. So he's doing well there, and school classes started there the other day. He's doing good. So, meantime, my daughter works at a very, very similar place to this. This young lady, I don't know how old she is. Maybe she's late teens, early 20s. I honestly don't know. You think she looks about early 20s, Producer Garrett? You would know. You're in that bracket. What am I? I'm old man now. I'm just kidding. But she, so she looks in her early 20s. I think you're right. If the manager's gonna leave early that day of a Target and leave her in charge to close, she literally, I'm gonna play the audio. She does a social media post complaining. I think there's some cussing in there, right, Producer Garrett? Is there? A little bit of cussing. Can you imagine this? You're a Target store manager. You have a young lady who's worked at your store for 2 months. You feel confident enough to leave early and let her close the store down. And she freaks out about it. And instead of calling people and, quietly trying to get some help or something like that, she freaks out about it and goes online, social media with it while she's working. She says she can't handle it. She doesn't have time, but yet she has enough time to do social media posts about it. Cut up a whole Twitter video. A TikTok video. Recording yourself complaining. You see her pictures, too. She's got, rings in her nose, spikes in her side of her head, and all sorts of things. They're okay with it, so if they're okay with it, that's their issue at Target. But I'm like, my gosh, instead of stapling stuff to your face so much and then complaining on social media, why don't you do your damn job? Excuse my language. Here she is complaining, and I want to ask you a few questions on this as we play this. If this worker, I want you to tell me if this worker seems like somebody that you'd want to hire or work with. If when she's stressed out and given a challenge like that, she goes public on social media and complains about it, saying what company you're with. And are you seeing this kind of attitude and behavior among workers that are her age, younger 20s, at your workplace? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. In these parts, she's recording herself pushing a cart and stuff like that, or a bin that carries stock or something like that. She's showing herself suffering, slogging through this. And she drops an F-bomb, as you heard right there. Can you imagine somebody that you've hired leaving her with some pretty big responsibilities for the day that she's freaking out about, and she goes to social media and drops an F-bomb and complains about it? Is this somebody you would want to hire? Is this somebody you'd want to work with? Does this worker seem like somebody you'd want to hire or work with? That's my big question. And are you seeing this kind of attitude and behavior among workers that are that are her age at your workplace? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Some of the things she's writing on these silent parts where she's not saying anything are... I'm gonna somehow have to close 24 registers, guest services, and self-checkout. I'm gonna have to close the store by myself. I don't know what the F I'm doing. You heard that part. And then she has different messages on there, they're complaining about it and saying what she's doing. Can you imagine actually having the time to complain about this and put a post together with video clips, boom, 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 audio beneath it, sound effects, and you don't have enough time to do your job? But you have enough time to do a social media post complaining about your job, dropping F-bombs. This is her, radioing people in the store. This is a social media influencer getting a job at Target so she can attack Target. But she's not a social media influencer. She's just a regular person. My daughter has told me, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Recently at a job she transferred over to recently, started a new job. This is difficult. I can't believe they're letting me do this. But she doesn't say anything publicly. She doesn't go after people publicly. She just comes home and shares it in a safe place at her house. My gosh. I would never want to. I would fire her for doing this, wouldn't you? Dropping swear words against your supervisor and against your company instead of doing her job. She did have enough time to do her job because she had time to make a video, make sound effects, and put in all these different things on there attacking them. Okay, so does this worker seem like somebody you'd want to hire or work with? And are you seeing this kind of attitude and behavior among workers her age at your workplace? All right, John in Fort Worth, we're going to talk to you coming up next on the Chris Crock Show. We got two lines open at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. I'm going to read to you some of the things that were typed up on the screen that while they were playing music, or she was playing music in the background. All that next. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. 800-288-WBAP is our number. Okay, this Target manager, or actually not a manager, but Target employee is overwhelmed by the manager saying, "I'm leaving a few hours early. I need you to close down for me tonight. Close." And she freaks out. She goes online and she does a Twitter, not a tweet, but a TikTok post. Edited it up, music below it. She drops an F-bomb in some of the words that she types up on the screen. That it reads, "It's happening whether I like it or not. Literally, girl interrupted." Another message she put up there, 32 registers are closed, was actually closer to 50 when including Tech, Pizza Hut, Starbucks, and CVS registers. And there's it has like a sulking picture at that time. One rude person complaining about how no one is helping her. There's literally 4 people here, she writes. Cannot make this S word up, full word. Another one is, to be honest, if anyone tries to rob me, ... Another one is, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm frightened. I miss my mother. And then another one, please never again. Another one, finally out this B word, full word. And then at the end, I saw, I conquered. Get to come here tomorrow for a shift at 7 a.m. tomorrow. Yay! Would you want to hire this type of a person that goes on social media and complains about the job and puts posts up there saying where she's at and what she's going through and how she doesn't like it and cussing? Does this worker seem like somebody you want to hire or work with? And are you seeing this kind of attitude and behavior among younger workers that are her age in their 20s at your workplace? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Two lines open. Let's go to John in Fort Worth. You're on News Talk 820 WBAP and now 93.3 FM WBAP.
Good evening.
Evening.
Hey. Well, I think what we're looking at, first of all, with this situation, let me back up just a second. I'll say, and you said it just now, a lot of the young folks today have a hard time coping with things like this. They don't know how to handle situations, and they get overwhelmed pretty easily. I've seen it a lot of times out there. But I think we've got to go back to the manager that left a few hours early and left a 2-month-old employee with that kind of responsibility to close down that many registers. I work in retail. You can't you can't close the store and close registers, especially for multiple businesses like that, with just 4 people. That's not a happening thing. Now, she didn't handle it very well, but I think the problem with this sits squarely on the manager's shoulder who left early and left a relatively new employee to do all that.
That's no problem with that possibly being that kind of an issue. I'm not going to certainly disagree with you on that, but I'm going to say this, though. Would you want to hire this young lady or work with her if she goes straight to social media and drops swears and pretty much attacks the employer and complains, has time to complain and make a video and stuff? But instead of, look, you handle it, you freak out, that's fine, you deal with everything, but you don't go public on social media. So, does this seem like somebody you'd want to hire or work with?
Well, it's not somebody that I would hire, but when she was hired, was that known? Do we know that was going to happen?
Well, now you know. If they looked fine and you hired them, everything was good, and then all of a sudden they start posting stuff, complaining about their job on social media, would you want that person working for you?
Probably not.
Yeah, neither would I.
And I think that right there could be grounds for at least a first disciplinary action. And if it happens again, ground for termination.
I'd probably fire her because if she doesn't like the way you handle it, then she's going to go on social media again.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's over. You can do what you want on social media. You're done. Our relationship's done. You attacked us publicly. I think that's just, to me, that's a non-starter. And are you seeing this kind of attitude on the younger workers? Because I don't want to pick on them.
Not where I work. I work for Lowe's, and I just left work a few minutes ago. And we never have only 4 people in the store to close the store down.
But are you seeing this kind of attitude with younger workers at your place?
No, not like that.
Good, no. Because that's the thing. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, Lowe's has a very strict interview process, and they have psychological tests to weed out people.
Psychological tests, I like that. Throw stuff at him in the middle of the interview. Throw a stapler at him or something. Mess with him. I'm just kidding. I appreciate your call, John. Thank you very much. Yeah, I don't want to throw the whole younger generation under the bus. I think about my son and my daughter, and they would never do this. And they've gone through a lot of crap, like all of us. My kids don't do this crap, and if they did, we'd be the first person to say, "What are you doing? This is ridiculous. You should get fired." We would be honest with them. Let's go to Steve. Nope, not Steve. Grandy and Grady. I'm sorry, and Murphy. Then we'll go to Steve and Irving. Grady, you're on News Talk 820 WBAP. I should say you're on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP. Hello, Grady.
Hello. How are you?
Good, sir. How are you?
Good. So I am an actual 18 to 24-year-old who works part-time, and I love my job, and I'm very cheerful, and I'm grateful to have a job right now. But I do have coworkers that are my age, and they just complain the entire time. I'm like, y'all are making bank working at this restaurant, and I just don't understand it because I'm very grateful to have my job.
Okay, so are you seeing this then? A lot of this kind of an attitude and behavior then around the younger people that are your age? I guess it sounds like your answer is yes, but not you.
Yeah, all the time, and I don't understand it. That's pretty much it.
To me, it's real simple. You're not going to advance in your interests and your career by being selfish and by attacking your employer and by complaining about it. You're not. You're not going to move forward, and you're not going to move yourself into a better position. It's funny because the more you pour into others at your job and the more you pour into people at your work and in your duties, the more you get out of it, the more you get poured into. And so this is a terrible way to live your life at work, I just think, I just think there shouldn't be tolerance for it. Grady, I appreciate your call. Let's go to Steve and Irving. You're on News Talk 820, 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Chris. Thanks for having me, man.
Look,
absolute true story happened like 3.5 years ago. I'm a heart patient. I've had 5 heart attacks before. I have 17 stents. So, and I developed a new issue. I know. I developed it runs in the family, and clean living.
Smoke them if you got them.
Yeah, right. And, so anyway, this is a family thing that all of us have it.
I got it.
I got it pretty bad. So anyway, I've been dealing with this since I was 35 years old, and I'm 54, and I developed something called tachycardia. Okay, heart goes nuts, and sometimes it just shuts down. It stops.
Wow.
And so I was starting to get those symptoms, and I went to Baylor one night. And dude, I swear this is the absolute truth. I was blown away because the reason why I'm calling in because I want to shed some light and let people know that this is not just low-skilled workers we're talking about. This female doctor, nothing wrong with her being a female. I've had many female doctors, but happened to be a female doctor that came in, an ER doctor at Baylor, and I'm having issues. I'm in trouble. And so I'm hooked up to all the machines and everything. And then after about, an hour or so, she comes walking in. She tells me that, there's nothing wrong with you. And then while we're having this conversation, I had an episode, and I told her it's happening right now, and I started to pass out. She looks at the machine, and she checks it out. She goes, "Oh, that's normal. It happens all the time. Sir, we're busy, really busy tonight. You're wasting my time. We're going to go ahead. You're going to be fine," is what she said. "And we're going to dismiss you or discharge you." And I was like, "What?" And she had the purple hair. She had the tattoos. She had the stuff sticking in her nose and the lip.
She had the purple hair. What else?
And the tattoos, sleeved out tattoos on her arms, and then the nose thing and the lip piercing. And all that.
Oh, wow!
Totally rude and obnoxious. And when I talked to the nurse that came in there after that, I said, "How long has she been here? And how old is she?" And she said, "I think she's 30, I think." And she goes, "She's been here about 6 months." So I wanted to be admitted to the hospital because I know I have these issues. And then, of course, they knew that I'd had heart attacks and everything before. But she just totally wrote me off, man, with a worse attitude that I'd ever had in my life. I went straight to UT once I got released from Baylor. Mm-hmm. They immediately admitted me, put me in. 7 hours later, I'm going through heart surgery. They saved my life. I died on the table when my heart stopped. They had to shock me back to life while doing an ablation on my heart.
Did you Reach
I
out to the
filed a-
hospital manager and the ER manager.
Chris, I filed a formal complaint. Nothing was ever done. Once they passed me off, wrote me off on that, then I went on their website, on Baylor's website, the Irving Hospital, and I told the absolute truth on their comment section. They responded to me saying they wanted to talk to me to resolve this issue, and I tried to contact they just ignored me, totally ignored me.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're protecting, but I just want to say this.
I would simply just call.
On,
I would actually get in touch with the hospital manager and or the hospital administrator, wherever their role is, the person that's the general manager of the hospital, if you will, whatever that title is. And then I would also tell them your experience. I would say I want to talk to them on the phone or in person, whatever's better for you guys. And then the other thing is I would also do the same for there's somebody that's going to be in charge of the ER as far as supervisor and management. And I would tell them both. And you can, there's just no way you will not be able to directly talk to them on the phone for a few minutes or something. There's always a way. And what you don't want to do is be somebody, just going off. And like your post, right. You ever do a online post? If you do more than a sentence or two or three, you're gonna look like a crazed idiot. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I actually told the truth. That's all I did. I didn't even.
Yeah. Even if you're telling, I'm just giving you a piece of advice. Even if you're telling the truth and it's like 5 paragraphs, when everybody looks at that, they say that guy's a loon. Next,
it wasn't that long.
They don't even read it.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know for like how it looks to the average person, in my opinion. But I would definitely do that. Direct management for the entire hospital, and then direct management for the ER. There's going to be one person in charge of them, and they may or may not entertain your discussions, but they should, and they most likely will, even if it's for lip service. I appreciate your call, Stephen. I'm glad you are alive with us tonight.
All right, Chris. Thanks. I just want to let everybody know that this is a bigger issue.
Yes. I don't doubt that there's people that are in the age bracket that are doctors that are like that. Probably a nice DEI hire. But I'm sure she checks all the boxes as far as her beliefs. But I do want to say it again. There are many people that are my age that have kids that are between the ages of 12 and 23 or something. And your kids are hardworking. They don't complain. If they have an issue, they might complain quietly to their parents or to a friend, but they're not going to be like this. And I think that knowing that is a good thing. For example, I'm meeting some guys here and there that my daughter is friends with, quote unquote, you know what I mean, from class or something. And one of them shakes a hand like a fish, doesn't look at me in the eye. The other two shake firmly and call me Mr. Croc and shake my hand. Those are the ones that are not going to be complainers at a job. At least if they do, they're not going on social media to attack their employer. The gender pay gap, is that a myth? That's coming up at 10. But right now, coming up next, I want to get into a National Guardsman shot in illegal on the Texas border. All that next. Indiana National Guardsman. You know how we're having like Florida Guardsmen and Guardsmen from all over the country by Republican governors being sent down to help us in Operation Lone Star, because it's not just a Texas thing, it's a national thing, as we've all been seeing from Joe Biden's chosen border invasion for 3.5 years. So there was an Indiana Guardsman down under Operation Lone Star as part of our operation, and an illegal immigrant on the other side of the border fence, the border wall, but of course it's like a fence, you know that is, it's like a steel bollards that are like 30 feet tall or whatever. A National Guard soldier was deployed to there, and he saw an illegal immigrant stabbing 2 others with a knife in the Zelta area of El Paso sector. And he shot the illegal who was stabbing 2 other illegals. After he shot and hit the illegal who was stabbing the other 2, he ran back onto the Mexico side. That's one way of repelling him, huh? And they gave aid to the 2 victims who were stabbed by this illegal in front of their eyes. So, the 2 illegals are okay. They've been helped. And the violent stabber guy ran back. We have no idea if he was injured or not, since he fled to Mexico after the incident. And that just demonstrates what they're facing. That literally made it nowhere in the news that I've seen. I didn't even see that on Fox News. Did you? No. I mean, it was like nothing. The only where it came from, Allie Bradley, reporter for News Nation, and it was also mentioned in Breitbart. But that's serious. Shooting, popping, and dropping, or at least trying to pop and drop a illegal stabbing people. It's just that's Joe Biden's America. We also have some more and more and more of unbelievable stuff we're seeing and hearing from Biden's illegals. You can see a lot of it on my Twitter feed at Chris Crock Show. That's at Chris Crock Show, ChrisKrok. Here's some audio you'll hear of this happened today at New York City Hall. Illegal aliens, tens of thousands of them storming New York City, City Hall in New York. Not satisfied with the shelters provided them. They want this. They want luxury housing and they want work permits to work. These are all predominantly African illegals in the tens of thousands in New York City at City Hall. Here we go. It's a rally. This is outside of the rally. It's Central Park, but you can see the video. It's on my trip. It's tens of thousands of illegals. They're gathering, rallying, and such. And we have a lot of other stuff on my Twitter feed. If you scroll down, I have an illegal here, and I don't want to play because it could be some cussing, but you have an illegal who was arrested for assaulting a cops complaining his rights are being violated because people enter the taxpayer-funded shelter without permission. He literally entered our country illegally, says Libs of TikTok. This is a report on CBS New York.
Between migrants and staff, police body cam video shows Arnal pulling away from officers and this woman blocking the police car door. Police say at one point she attempted to strike officers. She too was arrested.
Let me go back to the beginning. This is where he's getting arrested on CBS News.
Ken Arnal, a migrant from Venezuela also living at the shelter, was arrested Tuesday for disorderly conduct.
All these people Joe Biden's brought in are attacking and terrorizing. Here's another child rapist on Fox News being arrested by ICE. He's one of Joe Biden's illegals that was brought in.
A short time later, ICE took down their final target, a Brazilian gang member, also charged with child rape.
I mean, it's insane, guys. Over and over and over and over again, what this man's done to our country. So therefore, Alejandro Mayorkas, accused of treason, and I'll tell you why they're saying he is accused of treason, and the impeachment, of course, went over to the Senate today. I'll give you the latest on that coming up next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3, and then the gender pay gap is a myth. There's no such thing. I'll prove it coming up next.